Stitchers, it's Beth with West Coast Wool, and today's video tutorial is all about how to make a woven picot. Now I'm going to give you some tips to make your woven picots turn out beautiful. So come along and let's take a look. So we're going to get started, and for demonstration purposes I'm going to be using this pearl cotton from Wonderfil. It's a beautiful orange color. It's EZM 1096. It's a size 8. And we're also going to be using a chenille number 24 needle. We're also going to use a straight pin. And I really like these super fine straight pins from Clover. And we're going to make a woven picot on this little circle right here. And I'm just going to use this line in the wool just as a starting point. So we're going to put our pin in our wool here, and I'm just going to place it sort of in the center, and the top of the pin is where your point is going to be. Now, when you make the woven picot, you always have to use an odd number of spokes. You can use 3, 5, or 7, but today I think we're going to do a 5 spoke. And the reason I want to do that is so that I can get a more rounded picot. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up and we're going to make our spoke. And I've got quite a long length of thread here. And we're going to wrap it around, and we're going to come back down, and I'm trying to sort of make a wider triangle here. And we're going to come back up. And we're going to go around, and I think I just got to, oops. Go. I'll wrap it around. And we're going to go back down. And then we're going to come up close to the center, and you'll notice that I've come up along this line as evenly as possible. Come up. And we're going to come around, and you'll notice how I've tried to get all of these threads as straight as possible. And I'll let you get a closer look here. So this is where you really have to pay close attention if you want your picot to look really good. Now, I'm going to show you when I first started doing the picots, kind of some of the problems that I had. And on this little piece right here, you can kind of see where I have this little thread kind of poofed out. You can see that. And then this kind of, at the beginning, I've got this little thread here. The weave wasn't tight enough. I've got a little bump here. What we want to do is avoid having those. So it's really important that when you first start out, that you're pushing your threads up to the top as far as you can. And how you do that is I go ahead and I'm going to weave. I'm going to take the back of my needle and I'm going to weave under, over, under, over, under. And see, I'm going to push my needle kind of up to the top, and then I'm going to pull the thread through. Okay, and it kind of looks like that, and see how it's kind of coming in itself. Don't worry about that. So what you're going to do is use the back of your needle, and you're going to push those threads up, and you're going to come back, and you're going to weave in the other direction, and you're going to go under, over, under on the other side, and then you're going to push the threads up. So it's really important that you push those threads as far to the top of your stitch and where this needle is to keep those bumps and lumps from sticking out of the top, okay? So I've done the first 2 stitches, and I'm just pushing those threads up. And now I'm gonna go again, I'm gonna go under, over, under, over. Or did I say that wrong? I don't know. So when we do that, I'm gonna really push my needle up. So you can kind of see, push it really up far, and then I'm gonna weave the next stitch, right? And I'm gonna keep doing this until I get it really nice and tight. And you see how the tighter I've done this, and as I push these up, it kind of makes it a little rounder and less pointed. If you were doing a woven picot and you wanted it to be very pointy, you would weave tighter so it pushes itself in and becomes a tighter point. But we want this to be kind of round, so we're doing the 5 spoke, but you could do a 3 spoke and it could be like a real pointy piece. So we're going to do some weaving back and forth, and I'll speed up the video as I stitch this so you don't have to watch the whole thing. But as you start building these rows, you want to have a lighter touch. So after you've established the first maybe 3 rows, you kind of want to have a lighter touch, not pulling too tight if you want your picot to be rounder. And I think some people have had that issue where they just couldn't get that nice round top. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to have a little bit lighter touch as I've started to weave these next ones. Get that undone there. Now you see how I just kind of like pulled it like this and kind of distorted it? You want to avoid doing that. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. So we're going to keep weaving, and I'm going to keep using the back of my needle to push those stitches up. I'm going to keep going. And this tutorial works for both left-handed and right-handed people. And you're going to keep going. Use the back of your needle. So I'm going to keep stitching this, and then I'll come back and talk to you some more about the picot. Okay, so I've almost come to the end here where I've finished the weave. Now I'm going to take my pin out, and let's have a look at that. Okay. Now you're not finished here. You still need to fill in the end here. And I usually weave as much as I can. So I will pack in as many weaves as I can get to finish out this stitch. Okay, so I still can get more in there, and I'm going to keep weaving until I get as much as I can. I can get one more in there, and you see how I've kind of just pushed it down so I can get right in there. Okay, and then I'm going to just take my needle to the back. And there you go. There is the woven picot. Now, what happens if you do have a little lump here, a little bump that happens? You can also tack it down, tack the little picot down by just coming up in the edge here on that one little stitch. Okay, and then just going right back down. And there you go. There is a 5-spoke woven picot. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and even leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you.